Depression and
Yeah. Yeah.
You pray for it?
yeah.
I think I got lost in me out on.
The Patience Stone by Atiq Raimi. Broken April by Ismail Kadare. The Sexual Life of an Islamist in Paris by Leila Marouane. The Teacher of Chepos by Albert Salvado. A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier by Ishmael Bey. American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Depression and Other Magic Tricks by Sabrina Benham. Witch Wife by Kiki Petrosino. Ariel by Sylvia Plath. 20th Century American Poetry. The Selected Poems of Emily Dickinson. Her by Pierre Alex Jeanty. Howl and Other Poems by Allen Ginsberg. Milk and Honey and the Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. Love Poems by Everyman's Library Pocket Poets. The Princess Saves Herself in This One and The Witch Doesn't Burn in This One by Amanda Lovelace. Sounds and Scents, An Introduction to Poetry by Lawrence Perrine and Thomas R. Arp. A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. A Treasury of Poems. Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. A Treasury of Southern Folklore by B. A. Botkin. The World Treasury of Fairy Tales and Folklore. The Story of World Mythologies, from Indigenous Tales to Classical Legends by Terry Ann White. Uncommon People, The Rise and Fall of the Rock Stars by David Hepsworth. 1,000 Films to Change Your Life. 501 Great Writers. 501 Must-See Movies. Great American Short Stories. 100 Years of the Best American Short Stories by Lori Moore and Heidi Pittlor. The Art of the Short Story. The Complete Mouse by Art Spiegelman. Sin City by Frank Miller. Fables, Legends in Exile by Willingham. March 1 by John Lewis, Andrew Aden, and Nate Powell. Fight Club 2 by Chuck Palahniuk and Cameron Stewart. Lighter Than My Shadow by Katie Green. My Favorite Thing is Monsters by Emil Ferris. Walking Dead Book 1, 2, and 3 by Robert Kirkman. The Complete Persepolis by Marjorie Satrapi. A Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin. The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. A Game of Thrones graphic novel, volumes 1, 2, and 3 by George R. R. Martin and Tommy Patterson. A World of Ice and Fire by George R. R. Martin. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling and Jim Kay. Dear Ijawele, or A Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions, and We Should All Be Feminist, all by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda and Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. Speak by Laurie House Anderson. Diary of an Oxygen Thief by Anonymous. A God in Ruins by Kate Atkinson. The Handmaid's Tale. The Penelopede. And Oryx and Crake, all by Margaret Atwood. Emma by Jane Austen. Crispin, The Cross of Lead by Avi. My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Backman. Six of Crows by Leah Bardugo. Witch Craze, A New History of the European Witch Hunts by Anne Llewellyn Barstow. The Idiot by Elif Batuman. Awake, A Reader for the Sleepless by Stephen Lee Bieber. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil by John Berdent. The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Going Bovine by Libba Bray. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. The Stranger by Albert Camus. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. The Alienist by Caleb Carr. Don Quixote by Miguel Cervantes. The Yiddish Policemen's Union and Moonglow by Michael Chabon. The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. City of Bones and City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. My Brother Sam is Dead by James Lincoln Collier and Christopher Collier. Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. Heart of Darkness and Selected Short Fiction by Joseph Conrad. The Prince of Tides by Pat Conroy. The Meowmorphosis by Coleridge Cook, based on a book by Franz Kafka. Fountain Society by Wes Craven. The Passage by Justin Cronin. Blue Bloods by Melissa De La Cruz. Columbine by Dave Cullen. The Persian Pickle Club by Sandra Dallas. The Familiar, Volume 1, One Rainy Day in May, and The Familiar, Volume 2, Into the Forest, both by Mark Z. Danielowski. The 50-Year Sword, also by Mark Z. Danielowski. The Maze Runner by James Dashner. The Only Ones by Carola Dibble. A Christmas Carol, Hard Times, Great Expectations, and A Tale of Two Cities, all by Charles Dickens. A History of U.S. Feminisms by Rory Dicker. The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. Room by Emma Donoghue. The Breathing Series, Book 1 and 2 by Rebecca Donovan. Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Philosophy Bites Back by David Edmonds and Nigel Warburton. What is the What by Dave Eggers. American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, Ph.D. Absalon, Absalon, As I Lay Dying, Intruder in the Dust, and The Sounds and the Fury, all by William Faulkner. White Oleander by Janet Fitch. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Chronicles by Jean Frissois. Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. Lord of the Flies by William Golding. The Home for Unwanted Girls by Joanna Goodman. We wish to inform you that tomorrow we will be killed with our families by Philip Gourevitch. The Tin Drum by Gunter Grass. Looking for Alaska and Paper Towns, both by John Green. The Godey's Tale, Book 1, Finders Seekers by Gail Greenough. Less by Andrew Sheen Gear. The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. Snow Falling on Cedars by David Gutterson. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. The Silent Wife by A.S.A. Harrison. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Beowulf, translated by Seamus Heaney. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. A Farewell to Arms, For Whom the Bell Tolls, The Sun Also Rises, and The Old Man and the Sea, all by Ernest Hemingway. Dune by Frank Herbert. The Histories by Herodotus. Hex by Thomas Old Houvelet. And Horns by Joe Hill.